Well, I guess this comment is going as much to Joseph the priest as it is the student of Gurdjieff. It does seem quite interesting to me that your analysis and information has become available to us at this time. A lot of the things that we talk about on the show on a very mundane level is becoming better people and developing ourselves. On another level, there is, you might say, a great deal of spiritual struggle, or some might say spiritual warfare. We're in a time of great change. And if you have any thoughts about those terms and these times we're living in, and how these practices may or may not be a part of our fortifying ourselves and fighting the good fight, I would appreciate any thoughts you had on that.
Yeah, I'm sure that we are living in times of, as Bennett said, accelerating change. And that means that everything is accelerating, including the rate of the downward spiral.
Mm-hmm.
The destructive forces which are loose are increasing at an accelerating rate. And at the moment, we're experiencing the release of an elemental force of panic. This is something which Gurdjieff did speak about and Bennett preserved, that there are elemental forces such as panic, and our reaction to what happens in the world, our response to it, makes the world. Now, in very, very real ways. He says that the fear which we feel, that sort of panic, enters the earth and it has a deleterious effect upon the earth and breeds disease. So, in a time like now, when panic has been released, it's all the more important that we make the efforts we can for at least our own individual sanity and balance. And that will have an effect in society. I don't believe it can be as easy as harmonic convergence or things like that. Excuse me. There's an element of wishful thinking there. And I don't criticize the motive behind it at all. People mean well, but it's harder than that. We can all hold hands and sing, and it may not make any difference whatsoever, but if we are working on our being, that will make a difference. It will affect the person next to me. And then how that person is will affect the person next to them. And there can be a ripple effect. The hazard, the situation at the moment is that the positive effect, the positive work, the creative, the conscious work might not be strong enough to balance the destructive forces. So, and this is something which I think is a general rule in history. The greater the destructive forces loose, the more the constructive forces can appear. It's very striking that when our Lord was teaching in Palestine, there were reckoned numbers of demonic possessions. The two of them go together: the appearance of the Lord, the appearance of the devil, and it goes in the reverse direction. There's little doubt that Gurdjieff believed that his ideas and his methods were needed for the time in which he was born. Excuse me. And also for what was going to come afterwards. Mrs. Staveley and Bennett picked this up. So did Dr. Lester. You may have heard of Dr. John Lester. He was another pupil of Gurdjieff and of Jane Heap. But Bennett, Mrs. Staveley, John Lester, they all said that we are living in a critical time of transition, and the world needs things like the Gurdjieff work more than ever before. So what might have been hidden has to be brought out so that it can have a greater possible effect. That's one aspect. Look, there's so much that I could go on with there, Ilan. I'm reminded of how Uspensky said that in the ancient Egyptian civilization, the schools, that is, the forces of consciousness, were big and the society was small. But now it's different. Society is big and the schools are very small. Mm-hmm. So we're fighting against immeasurably great forces.